I'm gonna call it. You know, when you was in at the London Monarchs, man, and then you know, the talk at lunch one day was that, you know, because Kenny Mack, Eric Stevens, all those guys were shouting, talking about it, that, you know, the Detroit Lions scouts were looking at you, wanting to see, you know, who is this Royal Blenman? Who is this guy? Because they obviously saw something that they liked.
Yeah. Did I deal with mine the correct way? Probably not. Probably not, I didn't.
Right.
You know, at the end of the day, yes, you want a good woman behind you, but at the same time, we never asked them. We just did.
Right.
You know, we didn't say, do you...
You just wanted them to understand.
Yeah. We didn't explain nothing to them. We just did it.
Yeah.
Which is a bit selfish.
And when you think of it, unless you sat them down and broke it down, and it's not over one meal either. This is something that is deep and takes time to break it down for them to understand. You know, were they then given a choice?
Was it time for you to put them boots up on the legend? When was that time? When was that time when you took them boots and went, boop, and put them up there? It's time to call it quits.
Yeah, man, it was early this morning, 6 o'clock, you know, with my son who was in the gym, you know, just a light workout, you know, got the body lathered up, stretched, you know, used the resistance bands, put an hour in, and that was it.
What, in
the gym, yeah, in the garden, man, yeah.
Okay.
You know what I mean, gotta make use of that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I had a little workout yesterday, boy. Bust my behind.
No, your workouts ain't little though.
No, but it was a partner workout yesterday. I don't normally do Saturday mornings. I normally do Saturday afternoon, but I just fancied to get some cardio work done. And so it was like a partner workout. So it was a bear complex.
Yeah.
Which is a clean into front squat, into a thruster, into behind, into a back squat. And
man,
push up. That's one rep, but it was 10 reps, but we had to share that.
What is the matter with you? You're not ever gonna stop doing this stuff, are you?
You know what?
This is just the way of life, right? This is the way of our life.
Right.
By the way,
it keeps me good.
I hear you.
It keeps me good,
and you're looking good too. So welcome back. We're here.
Welcome back. This is episode 1.
This is exactly
episode 1.
Right, and you know, Ballaz In Da Middle, man. We're back. You know, this is all about raising the awareness, like we said, you know, in our preview, raising the awareness of American football in Great Britain. This is about us, man.
Yeah, this one's gonna
this is about us, man.
Be a bit touchy. This one might.
This one's gonna get a little bit, you know, emotionally messy, maybe. You know, we might.
We'll see.
You can see how this one goes.
See how it goes down.
Yeah, but you know, Ro, you know, you know, I need to. Well, I know, but we need to air this out, man. We need to air this out. You know, when did this all really start for you, man? I mean, we all come from different walks of life, right? You know, and what I want you to share with everyone is, you know, when did you start? I mean, when did you to make the decision to say, you know what, I'm not going to play the national sport, as in soccer. Let's call it soccer,
yeah.
Right? You're not going to play soccer.
We have to call it soccer.
You're not going to pull. You're not. You know, you turned your back on cricket. Right, you know, you turned it back on those sports that we played in schools as we were growing up. Because you know as well as I do, American football weren't in schools, right? But
it's still not in schools.
Yeah, Ballaz In Da Middle. That's what we're trying. We're trying to do that piece too, which we'll come on to that in later podcast. Yeah, but what inspired Roel Blenman to play American football?
Wow, you know what it was? It was. I think it was 79. just started secondary school, and then my father decided that he wanted to move to America. And,
Right.
we picked up everything and moved to America. Went over there, and before I left there, I was playing soccer, and I was pretty good at it. We lived in Fulham, so Chelsea was around the corner.
Next to Fulham, next to Fulham football team, Chelsea football team.
I lived in Fulham, but we was literally 5 minutes from Chelsea football ground.
Okay.
That close, and Fulham was not, a little bit further away.
Oh, that's the old Chelsea ground, right? Not
Stamford Bridge.
Oh, Stamford Bridge.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our flat was right around the corner from Stamford Bridge.
Okay.
So that was the path I was going into. The school I went to, secondary school. They would, know for football as well. So I was heading down that road until my father decided, it's time to go. And if you know anything about our community, is like when the man says something, no matter what, when it's time to go, we gotta go. So we moved to America, went to Florida, and
Everglades, baby.
So when I got to Florida, they weren't playing soccer. They weren't not even remotely close. So I'm like lost now, because that was my that was my little avenue, and that was something I enjoyed doing. So went to school, and I actually didn't even learn it at school. I learned it in the neighborhood. And that was the craziest thing, is the way we played it in the neighborhood was you had the road, you had grass on one side and grass on the other. Quarterback was in the middle, the wideouts was on the outside, so basically you might have been on the grass or you might have been on the road. It was tackling in the road.
On the hard-ass concrete?
Yeah, tackling on the grass.
So what position did you play? I mean, when you doing that?
I was playing wideout then. Okay. Knew nothing about playing wideout.
Right.
You knew nothing about catching. They would just tell me run, I'll run, and they throw me the ball. And learn that way.
Backyard football right there.
And then
on the main high road, right?
Yeah. So, but where we lived, it was back then. You got to think it was pretty segregated. So it was like you got to where we lived. It was like one way in, which was like a road, and then there was another way out, but that was like a dirt road, and no one really ever used that. And then sometimes we played there was a field there, but if it wasn't cut, no one ain't playing that field. It depends on whoever cuts that grass. We'll play on there sometimes, but that was very rare. So we would play, like I said, in the road, or in the road, but like on either sides there'd be grass and stuff. And
so how did you take that bit? How did you take that bit and transition that into playing maybe in your first team? How did that part of the journey go?
It was just something to do at the time. I was trying to find another sport that I was good at. I wasn't good at this at all. Knew nothing about the game.
What, American football?
Yeah. Okay. Not. I had no...
Because you were new to the game,
yeah,
is that why?
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
okay.
I had no clue to,
Yeah.
To the point, I was saying, we was playing, and I run into, going to catch a pass and run into a clothesline, cut me right across here.
Right,
I've got a scar there, just get up and carry on going, you know what I mean? Then I actually did try to get onto a team, but that was another joke, man. I went down there and they said, "Oh, you're too small." And trust me, when I was in my secondary school, I was tiny, bro. I didn't weigh. I'd be lucky if I weighed 120 pounds.
What's that, with kit on wet?
Yeah, you know what I mean? And they gave me this, before I even tried that, they gave me the helmet and everything. I had
Did the helmet fit, or was
bro,
it like...
the helmet was so big, I had a lineman's face case,
I
bro.
knew he was going to say that.
Bro, and I was like...
I can just picture that.
Yeah. And so they give you all your kit and stuff first before you try out. I'm like, yeah, I'm all excited. And when I got down there, it's like, nah, bro, you're too small. So gutted. So I then didn't play there. I just kept on playing in the neighborhood. So then I think it was next sport come up, which was, it was winter time. Then basketball come up. Pants at that. Never played that before in my life, but I had to learn it. But I was more passionate about playing American football because we carried on playing in the neighborhood where there wasn't a basketball rim in the neighborhood. We was always playing football.
Right.
So I got better at it, but still a long way away before I actually played it. And then I came back here. Came back here in the third year and just finished school. Then went into work, and then I was at work one day, and then heard it on the radio.
You heard it on the radio. What did you hear on the radio?
I heard.
What did you hear?
I heard London Ravens were practicing at Hyde Park.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
So how old did you at that point then?
Uh,
Like 16, 17 or?
No, I was older than that because when I went to JUCO, I was 22. So I would have had to been, well, yeah, it was about 20, 21 because I only played, I think I played from either 87 to 89 at Ravens.
Right.
Before I decided to go to JUCO to play.
So you heard that message. You was like, damn, you can't believe what you're hearing. You went down to practice, and what happened from there? Where did it? I need the escalation point. How did it escalate from there?
I went down there. Obviously, that you get there. It was you play. I'm like, well, I wanted to play back and. Well, back.
And running back.
Yeah, but when I got down there, you see he will be on the show.
So who was there why you couldn't play running back at the London Ravens?
He will be announced on one of the
mighty
shows
London Ravens back in the day.
Mighty Victor.
Yeah.
Victor.
Who?
Victor Mohammed and Joe St. Louis, man. Them
Who?
two. They had, I mean... And Mark Winnick. We had
Mark Winnick.
Yeah.
And right. Victor Bubadike.
Yeah.
Joe St. Louis.
Yep.
Mark Winnick. Those names should be household names.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah. The British American football community should know about those guys, the journeys that they took, what they brought to British American football.
It was
It
was absolutely crazy. So then it was like, I'm not getting the backfield.
So by the way, we're being a bit biased here because that's just running backs, but there are other positions on the field too.
Yeah, without doubt.
I like the bias because you know what I am, right?
Yeah, I wanted to play back, but but I'm one of those players. I think that's why I lasted so long in the game as well. I pretty much put me anywhere. I just want to play. The only place I haven't played is on the line. You know what I mean? So I then went to wideout and. They still had, good wideouts that were way better than me at the time. You know, good hands and stuff like that. But I was like, you know what? No, I'm not giving up on this. It got to the point where kept on going. Just kept on training, working, training. I was getting better, but then I thought, I want to take this to the next level.
Right.
And followed Victor and Nigel Hoyt. Two Hall of Famers. They went to junior college in Chicago.
Right. So you're right. So Victor, Bubadike and Nigel Hoyt, they are Hall of Famers, which were inducted in the inaugural, just like us. What year were they though? Were they for the 80s though? They were for the 80s, weren't they?
Yeah, they were from the 80s.
So let me ask you this. So then you proactively decided you want to raise your own game, right? This alien game to the nation in the UK. And you then decided to pick yourself up and take yourself to the States.
Yep.
What does that look like? Back then, that's absolutely unheard of.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Bruh.
It was...
That's unheard of.
You know what? That's how much... I loved the game.
Yeah.
I wanted to play the game. I wanted to get better at the game. Yeah. To the fact that I got on that plane by my Jones. Went to school went to school. Had no other family. They were all here. And got there. Same thing happened again. Got there and it was absolute beast running back.
Right.
You
Right.
know, I
What
think
was the name of school, by the way?
Harper Junior College.
Right. Okay.
He was absolute. You know, he was not as big as you. He was. I don't think he was even as big as Joe. He was about, I would say, 5'8", but probably about $190.
Was he nice?
Nice is an understatement, bro.
Yeah,
Had mad wheels.
well, you know as well as I do when you refer to the ultimate league as the NFL, bro. You got backs 5'8" that go right up to 6'5", 6'4".
But he had like mad wheels, and he,
you know,
it's
all about the skills.
He could read the game really good, and his running game was off the chain.
Right.
So there was like, bro, you got two things you could do. You could sit behind his back, or you could go and play a defense. All right. The script went on defense.
You know how many times I've heard that in my career about players that go to college in the States, and our American counterparts now who we've built relationships with in the past. How they've gone in to be a quarterback, but they've been told no, you can't play quarterback because maybe you're too short, or you can't play running back because you're not big enough. But there is a spot on defense. So that isn't really new to me, hearing that type of stuff. Do you know what I mean?
But me personally, I think if I had been playing the game as long as them, then I would probably stuck at trying to be a running back. But because the game was still new to me, it was like,
man, them cats had at least 15 years on you.
Yeah, at
least
it was a fresh canvas. So
at that level, they got 15 years on.
So I could start a new painting.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I went on defense and just. I'm gonna pat myself on the back. Just became an absolute beast on defense.
Right.
Hence why I got the name Hit Machine. I think I played. I played like a way 225.
Who are you telling?
You lucky. I thought back then. I think when I went there, when I left here, when I was playing for the Ravens, I was 140 pounds. But I didn't play like that at all. I always played bigger than I was. I would hit anything that was moving. I had no fear. And now I know the reason why I was like that. But we'll get to that. But yes, I just played on defense.
Okay.
And
so you learnt your craft. You learnt that. Strong safety. Am I? Strong, not
no,
corner.
I was free.
It was free safety. Free safety. So you learnt that craft at JUCO.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so as well as I do, you only got 2 years eligible to do that, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
So after that, you've got 2 years under your belt. What happens next?
I then had a scholarship to Fort Hays, Kansas, which is Division 2.
Mm-hmm.
And so I finished up that semester and thinking I had all my credits down. Came back to the UK for the summer. Worked here. So, by the way, junior college that I went to, I had to pay my own way. So it wasn't like it was a scholarship or anything like that. I think some junior colleges do give out scholarships.
So you worked and you saved up your money here, or did you work
so I
there?
worked here, saved up the money here, and summer times where if I did stay in the US, I'd work cash in hand.
Just to fund yourself through the years, right?
Because
I hear that.
And another thing, I wanted to play that game so bad.
Yeah.
That I was on one meal a day.
Yeah.
And I would get
How was you expecting to put on weight with one meal a day?
I was quite happy at the way I was at. It was. I didn't.
So you weren't doing 2-a-days and stuff, man. Not like that. Or was you?
Yeah, but it was only for a week.
Right.
So it wasn't like it was long.
Man, that's tough.
And obviously I get more meals on game day, but as the time, that's when I first got there. That's how hard it was, but that was not gonna deter me from playing that game.
I hear that. So you were just determined as hell, man.
So I would just, some days I'll have to walk to school, and I walk to school just because if my room is not going to school yet, I just walk, but it was bitter. You talk with like cold hair is nothing compared to that Chicago breeze. But so I did that and finished out there, got my scholarship, came back here. Then I went to Kansas, and done 2 days there. Got hit with the hardest news. I was 1 credit short. So, so I tried to get this. If I'd have known I was 1 credit short, I'd have gone to summer school. But I didn't know at the time. So I then called up the school and tried to, somehow. There was a little situation that I thought I might be able to get the credit, and it didn't work out that way. But you know what? When I look at it, it wasn't supposed to be.
Right.
Would I go back and change it? No, that's how it. Everything was already planned out. But it was a good school. That I was starting. So I've left junior college, gone to a Division 2, having a red passport.
Yeah.
European passport that no one know what I'm talking about, and I'm now starting at Division 2 school.
Yeah, that's big. That's big.
Playing, this would have been 90. Yeah. Thinking I've only probably 91, maybe 1991, playing what from 87 to 91 playing football, and now
you're starting in JUCO D2. Yeah, I hear that. So what happened? I mean, later on then. So after Fort Hayes, you came back, and you must have jumped into a void then. I mean, what did you do then at that point?
Just went back to work, and when I came back, I just went straight into work, and. I can't even. This is what happened. So by the time I'd come back, Ravens were on the down.
Right.
And
why? Why were they on the down, bro?
They got beat by the mighty London.
Right. Okay.
And so in any sport, the table turned. It shifted.
Yeah, I mean.
And by that time, I was already, like I said, last time I played for the Ravens were 89. So by the time I come back in, I think it was either 90, might have been 92. Yeah, because we went to somewhere around there, and some of them went to the London O's. So.
London Olympians. Yeah. They changed their name later on in there.
Yeah, so I then
it was the London Olympians.
Jumped on that bandwagon as well, and then went and played with them through the early 90s. I think the last time I played must have been 97. I think so.
Right, could have been.
Yeah.
Because I see you playing the Brit Bowl against Milton Keynes Pioneers. Yeah. I remember seeing you playing in that game. I never played in that game. So talk to me, man. What happened at the Olympians? Whilst you were there at Olympians, what was it successful? I mean, what happened?
It was. We had an unreal team, man. Went to back-to-back Europeans, killing the UK game, the British American Football League, and then heard that the World League was coming back, and so me, yourself, Victor, some of the other players. Started preparing for that. That was a journey in itself.
What when you say that was a journey in itself? What are you talking about? As in the training plan to get yourself ready?
Yeah, without doubt. Because you think we had a life. I had a daughter. Born in 93.
You're a family man, right?
So
you had responsibilities, man. You had a JLB. So you're saying you had to chop that all up.
Yeah.
And right. And do all of the work for those professional trials. Yeah.
So we're doing our 9-to-5 job. go home. In fact, I wouldn't even go home because I just go straight to the gym and then go home.
Yeah.
And then obviously I'm spending more time at home than if I do it that way. But that would be probably up until that'd be a Monday to Wednesday. I think we just used to go Suffolk on Thursdays.
I think it was Wednesday or Thursday practice.
Yeah,
one of the two.
One of the two nights that we would go. So you think, we'll work all week, we'll train, have a family, have family life, and get prepared for a career, in NFL, which was NFL Europe, the World League.
Yeah, and there's one thing I also want to shed a little bit of light onto this. So we can come back to this later, which we can. But you got to give props to our wives, our partners, our children that had to put up with us not being there, because that is a strain itself on a relationship.
Yeah.
And you need a woman behind you or in front of you and beside you that can support you in that and that understands.
I agree with you 100%.
Understands that. And it being, and this is just my opinion here, it being because let's just be real here. This is a recreational sport here.
Yeah.
Right? It's an amateur sport.
Yeah.
However, it being like an amateur sport in this country and it not being really known, my assumption is that women aren't really aware of the game, and because they're not really aware of the game, they're not aware of the commitment that ballers had to put in to, one, play the game from an amateur perspective as well. But if you want to raise your game and try and go pro, which means you got to put way more time into it, you really need a woman that understands that. And if she doesn't, that's going to be an added problem with it too.
Yeah, but you know what? That is down to us. And all bullshit aside, that's something I'm hoping that this platform will help the new generation deal with, because did I deal with mine the correct way? Probably not. Not I didn't.
Right.
At the end of the day, yes, you want a good woman behind you, but at the same time, we never asked them. We did.
Right.
We didn't say, do you?
You just wanted them to understand.
Yeah. We didn't explain nothing to them. We just did it. Which is a bit selfish.
And when you think of it, unless you sat them down and broke it down, and it's not over one meal either. This is something that is deep and takes time to break it down for them to understand. Were they then given a choice at that point? Do you know what I mean? Which is a huge question out there.
They wasn't given a choice.
It's a huge question out there.
They just done it. They done it for whatever reason. But I think if you do get to that point now in your life that you want to take any sport to the next level, and you've got a partner and you've got kids, you need to sit down and have that conversation with them.
Right.
And make them understand what it takes, what you have to do in order to go to the next level.
100%.
Don't just do it and assume that they understand, because they won't. Especially the sport that we play, they know nothing about that. They could probably understand soccer, but they know nothing about that. The sport is still pretty young. It's still new. We're new to them. You understand?
Right.
So I would say sit down and explain to them, and just tell them what it's going to take to take this to the next level.
So let's rotate back to London Monarchs now. You went through the trials and you got past that bit, and then rightly so, we all got picked up, and we were going to be professional players. We signed our contracts, flew out to camp, and then it started from there. So I got my experience. I'm going to tell you about my experience about that. But what was your experience when you got into the locker room? I'm not going to say onto the field, into the locker room, after breakfast, after team meetings, when you got to the locker room, and you saw your counterparts, and you saw, the offense, and you saw the defense, you saw, the the DBs that you're going to be competing against. Bro, what was really going through your mind, man?
You know, it was probably different for me than it was for you. I mean, I went to American school, so I knew I wasn't shocked by the size of any players. I don't know if you yourself was, but that wasn't my thing. You know, when I got to camp, yes, I'd known, you know, the guys that I'm competing against, the schools. I know the schools they've been to. I know, you know, whatever school they've been to. Because I know the game. I know if they've gone to that kind of.
You've been on the circuit, right? So you're very familiar with that process.
Yeah, so I'm trying to, you know, I know if you've gone to that school, you're decent, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and so if someone said, oh, you know, he's gone to Florida State or he's gone to Miami.
Oh, he's from that Power 5 school, man.
Yes.
And
so
he's got,
I know.
You know, straight away,
like,
he must be a baller.
He's got to be a baller.
Right.
But, you know, we'll get onto
you know what? In a way, you know, I'm glad I didn't know any of that stuff. I just went blind. I didn't know, so I couldn't then distinguish. I think that kind of worked out better for me.
Yeah, but, that worked out for you.
Yeah, but don't let me steal this thunder.
So that was on that. You know, that's in your head, and then you're hearing how the NFL has like big ass playbooks and yada. So all of that's in my head.
Okay.
They're not You know, I wasn't intimidated by them. I'm just. Certain players you probably would be because you know they went to good school, but my main thing was I've got to learn this playbook.
Got it.
And that's all I was concerned about. I wasn't worried about competing because I know, and you know yourself, Nick, we went in the best shape of our life, so that was never going to come into the equation.
Yeah, we weren't athletic ability at all, was it? That was not it.
All we had to worry about is learning that playbook.
We got to give thanks to TA for that one, Tony Allen, without a shadow of a doubt. Someone that name's going to be, you know, amplified a lot of that on here without a shadow of a doubt. But sorry, bro.
Yeah, so that was that was my main concern going in there. It wasn't none of the rest. And obviously I had done 2 days before, but, you know, I guess when you're pounding and doing the things that we were doing, it was a little different to school, to college.
One quick question, right? So you've been talking about your personal statistics, and you talk about $140, blah blah blah. When you went into camp in Atlanta, because that's where you were, right?
Yeah.
At Carrollton? And Atlanta Falcons practice facility, right? Yeah. What were you weighing in at? What were you rolling at? What was you benching?
Oh, so when I came in there, I was 185.
Bro, you put on about 2.5 stone, 3 stone.
Yes, but that was, you got to think over...
Yeah.
Since I was 22, so we're now 95.
Yeah.
That's a long time. So it didn't happen overnight.
But that's what you had to do, though, right?
Yeah, but that might have been me weighing in at, I might have woke up at 180 for all I know. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
what was you rolling at?
I started the season at 185, but never finished it.
Yeah, but when I say what was you rolling at? I mean, what was your speed? What was you running at?
4.4s. That, you know, I think
consistent.
When we went in, and as we progressed in more tryouts, I got quicker.
Yeah.
Benching was pretty much the same, like anywhere between 17 to 19 reps on 225. I think that's, you know, for someone
who's 185, that's sick.
That's pushing out that.
Who are you telling?
You got some linemen or linebackers probably
not doing that or doing that.
Yeah.
And this is coming from, these are our counterparts, right?
Yeah, without a doubt. You know, you'd be lucky. You'd be lucky if Eric Stevenson did that. You know what I mean?
Or Kenny Mack.
yeah. I know we're my boys, but
I know they were your boys, but I mean, you know, that's what we had to do as European players playing in the World League, NFL Europe. That's how we had to roll in there. We had to.
TA made sure that we was right. I mean, that was our makeup anyway. You know, that is one thing about us. Regardless if we played an amateur or not, we still worked out.
Yeah.
You know, we still kept in shape, and I think that's what helped us stay in the game as long as we did. But
so
go on.
Yeah, sorry for cutting you. Because I'm still on a. We kind of went off on a tangent. I want to pull it back in and go back to that first practice. I mean, or not necessarily that first practice, but after you like got on the field and you started practicing at that level. I mean, what was the difference? What were the things that stood out for you? I mean, you mentioned about the mental side of the game and understanding the playbook and saying, okay, that guy's from a Power 5, those guys are from Power 5 schools, or that guy's from, he's allocated from those guys are allocated from the NFL and blah, blah. How did you feel like you fitted into that, and how did you perform in camp?
I think I don't think me personally, when I went into camp, I thought I had all the abilities, but I think what was holding me back, learning the plays.
Right. And
saying that, and what I know now, and no one didn't tell us this, but it's if they'd have done that in the beginning, I think we would be so much further. But that was my main concern. I think that was what was holding me back.
It's understanding the playbook and rolling with it.
Yeah, understanding the plays.
Yeah.
And that's all it was. It wasn't that I could not play the game. I knew how to play the game.
Yeah.
It was a simple fact was they would call a play, a coverage, something completely different to what I knew.
Yeah.
But
the terminology was different, but it was the same plays, right?
When you put them across each other, they're the same exact play. But they just call
different terminology.
Yeah. Completely different. And I assume that's across the whole board of NFL, college.
Yeah.
The terminology is all the same, but they just call something different.
Yeah.
And no one didn't tell us that, and you had to learn that. And I didn't learn that till later on, and later on is when I think I went up to Scotland.
Yeah. So okay, so let's talk about Scotland, because we've done a bit about the Monarchs. We ain't going to place. So we can be talking about this, and the people that we've got in the pipeline to talk to, we're going to be having those conversations, right? Okay, so let's just go to Scotland now, right, man? I mean, so this is something I want to ask you, man. So just so you're aware, do you know there's only 3 players that have ever played for both professional franchises in this country?
You know that.
You, me, and Flick. That's played for the Scottish Claymores and London Monarchs. Just think about that for a sec. There's no one from Scotland came down to London.
No.
And so who from London, as in with regards to European players here now, went and played from London to Scottish Claymores?
It's true.
It's the 3 of us, right?
Yeah.
So there's only three people in the world, European players in the world that can answer this next question that I'm going to ask you. How did it differ? How did it differ from playing at the London Monarchs? I'm talking about the organisation. I'm talking about the management, the coaching, the players. Collectively, what impact did that have on you, on your game, in comparing playing at the London Monarchs and the Scottish Claymores?
You know what? When I look at the two, the setup in Scotland was a lot better. It was much more professional, in my opinion.
Yeah,
and
that's what it is.
Than London was. I think with London there was just so much going on. Not just with the Monarchs, just the fact that there's so much. What's what I'm looking for? There's just too much going on in London in general. You know, people get sidetracked easily. Where being in Glasgow, the practice facilities was just outside of, the town centre.
Right.
And it was away from everything, and just the whole setup was so much to me was so much better. Where being in London, they had places where they could have had us set up and made us feel like a proper professional unit, but they didn't. They had us in some Mickey Mouse, you know what I mean? Just Mickey Mouse nonsense.
I spilled water all over myself, man.
Like with some scrubs, you know what I mean? That first facility, I can't even remember the name of it, but that was an absolute joke. And then then we ended up at Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
Which was another joke, and we're supposed to be professionals.
Yeah.
Where in Scotland, we stayed in Central Hotel.
Yeah.
We stayed in the Thistle when they were fixing up the Central Hotel.
Got it.
It was, that's how, when you was in Scotland, you felt like a professional athlete.
Right. Maybe, maybe we just don't know, but like, we don't know if there was enough funding in 95, 96, 97. Did they get larger budgets as they went on through the year? We don't know that now, but we will get the answers around that.
In fact, I think everyone had the same amount of money. I don't think anyone had any more money than anyone else. All the teams got the same amount.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, my question is, did they get all the teams? Did they get more money further on through?
Right.
That's what I'm saying. But because the accommodation you saying was better in Scotland.
Yeah, but Scotland's had always been in hotels like that.
Right.
We never was in a hotel.
Okay.
And it's not like there's plenty of hotels in and around London that they could have put us.
Right.
But they chose not to. They tried to find places for us. Come on now, you look at Crystal Palace, but we had no business being in there. That's not. Yes, when it first built back in the day, probably was great facilities.
Do you think that had an impact though on the output of the team on the field?
Yeah, there was too much distractions.
Distractions. Right.
I think that's
so. There's less distractions in Scotland.
You think of where the Monarchs were in 91, 92 to where they were 95 up until 98.
Right.
There was too much distractions.
Okay.
Way too much. People were, I think they were outside of London in 91, 92. It's not easy to get into London from where they were. Where you're in London, you jump on a bus, cab, whatever, and they would be out.
Right.
Not saying that doesn't happen in any other city, but what I'm trying to say to you is I find there's way more distractions in London than, I'm not saying like Glasgow's not like that or any other thing, but there's just so much going on in London.
Okay. So in Scotland then, you're saying you're more in an enclosed place, the places where you were staying was much nicer. That helped. You could concentrate more on football, and you took advantage of that. And did that make a difference to your gameplay?
Yeah,
that was one of my main questions. Did it make a difference?
Without a doubt, that does, because now I understand the playbook.
Yeah.
Now I'm living, somewhere a lot more comfortable than when we was in the UK. I mean London, sorry. And it's about forming in practice to get your game time.
Right.
And
so overall better experience in Scotland.
Yeah, so now I don't have to worry about enough. I just need to concentrate on getting to play. And we will get onto that subject.
Man, and you did that 9 years back to back. Out.
And the wicked thing, if they ask me to play 1 year, play wide out, I'll go and play wide out.
Yeah.
Because I understood the two positions. Because if I'm covering a wide out, I know how to cut to cover a wide receiver. And if they ask me to play wide receiver, I know how to beat a DB if I had to beat him. To get the pass.
Yeah, but you haven't touched on special teams.
No.
And your how can I say? Let's say your personality on the field at special teams. Because you know as well as I do, we got guys like when Jeff Reinbold was coaching in NFL Europe, he was scheming against you.
Yeah.
Because that's how much a threat you are. And that's a bit of that's props right there. That's kudos right there.
Without a doubt.
If you got guys like Reinbold, we all know about Jeff Reinbold, absolute great coach, absolute figure of American football coaching. And he has to game plan against you at NFL Europe when you were playing there. That's saying something.
Oh, yeah.
That's saying something. And, it just goes on. For me, it just goes on that, why didn't you go further? Why didn't you get into the NFL? As in playing, when I say in the NFL, I mean as in playing in the States. Yeah, playing in one of those 32 teams. I mean, if you got coaches like Jeff Reinbold doing that with you on special teams, and as well as I do, in the NFL, you got 5%.
Yeah.
5% of those players are the ballers.
Yeah.
Right? The other 95%, are like, second string, third string, they're contributing, but they're playing, but they're bouncing around the leagues as well, and they're special teamers, right?
Yeah. I know a guy that played, I can't remember his name.
My question is why didn't you get that opportunity to fit into that 95%? Because you know as well as I do, and I'm gonna call it. When you was in at the London Monarchs, man, and then the talk at lunch one day was that because Kenny Mack, Eric Stevens, all those guys were shouting, talking about it, that the Detroit Lions scouts were looking at you, wanting to see who is this Royal Blemon? Who is this guy? Because they obviously saw something that they liked.
Yeah.
But that never materialized, man. And why?
I mean,
so it's a lot of questions.
I don't know.
And that type of dynamic really, really pisses me off.
Yeah,
it
of course it does.
Pisses me off big time because I've got my versions of that too. I'm sure Jerry, I'm sure Vic, all those guys, we will get to hear their stories. That have something like that, and unfortunately, it didn't happen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it boils down to. I wouldn't even say it was the age thing. I just think it was the fact that we didn't have anyone representing us, any agent or anything like that. I think if we had anything along those lines, they could have probably got us a shot on any kind of special team. But no one put us in the pathway to even get an agent or even acknowledge that. Because, you said to me before, when we spoken off camera, to the fact that you said everyone, your opinion was that you thought they were just trying to get their way back into the NFL.
That was my after I left London and I then had the experience to look back and see these things, because whilst I was there, I couldn't see those things.
Yeah, you can't.
Once I had more experience behind me and I look back, that was just like slapping me in the face. Yeah. It was like this, you know what I mean? I was like, Claude, have mercy. I did not see that.
Yeah, you wouldn't see it when you're there, but when you step away from it, you see, because that's the end goal for them.
That's the end goal for the coaches, the players, everyone. The cameramen, the physios. It was NFL Europe guys. Was literally, World League stroke NFL Europe, kit guys too. That was a springboard for them, or a shop window for them to get back to the NFL or get a shot in the NFL. Not just the players, it was everyone. Yeah. And that's what it clearly looked like at the Monarchs. For me, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. You don't see it when you're there, but the minute you leave, you definitely see that, without a doubt. And...
So just going back to the Claymores then, because it sounds like that's when your shoulders are dropped. That's when you played your best football. You did that 9 years back to back. Crazy 9 years. But what's the toll on your body on 9 years back to back? Yeah, okay. You were playing DB. You were playing special teams. You were playing. Sorry, when I say DB, you were playing corner. You was playing strong. Sometimes you played a bit of linebacker. I even seen you play line up a linebacker once or twice.
Lined up at end, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But 9 years back to back, bro. And then in 2003, you decided to pull the plug. What, how was that? How was week 10 in NFL Europe, which was a really sore game. I remember that mentally. Yeah.
That game hurt.
And the thing about it is we're going to have people on this podcast that can share the pain with that, some players across the ocean. But I mean, after that game, you decided for the lights to shut down, the crowds to go home, the curtains to close for Rob Blemmer with regards to, professional American football.
The reason I did it is at the time we had with me, myself, me, my sister, and my business partner at the time, which hopefully we could get him on here, is Adam Dirty.
Aiden Dirty is a business partner.
Yeah.
So just so I'm clear, we're talking about Aiden Dirty, who took a path just like us.
Yeah.
Amateur, semi-pro, pro at NFL Europe, then went to the NFL. I think he had two tryouts at two NFL teams, and now he's currently he's coaching at the Cowboys, right?
Cowboys or Atlanta, one or two.
No, he was at Atlanta. He's at the Cowboys now,
yeah.
Right? Yeah, that Aiden Dirty.
Yeah, it was his turn, and not only that, I told my partner at the time that I just wanted to break that record, and I told her I was hanging him up as well.
Got it.
But it was Adam's, it was Adam's turn, and
with regards to plugging your time, 100% of your time into your business with Ad.
And not only that, he wanted to start playing.
Right.
And the two of us couldn't be away at the same time, so
yeah.
That was one of the reasons.
Oh, because Ad was with us at the Claim. At the Claim was 2003. He came in.
Yeah.
He came in towards the end because we talked about that. Stuart Hare
got hurt.
Broke his leg,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And that's when Ad came in. Yeah. Okay.
So I decided, that's to pull the plug then.
Right.
Was I physically ready? Yeah.
Okay.
Was I mentally? I didn't realize that until later on.
Right.
We will go into that, but that's another.
That's another story which we're going to talk about, right? Because that subject of mental health is absolutely huge.
That's one of the reasons why I play the game.
Yeah, it falls right across everyone's walk of life, regardless of what industry that you're in. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, we're definitely going to touch on that.
So that it was a great day, but it was a sore subject because that we knew that Frankfurt didn't want to see us.
Don't go there, man. No, that hurts.
They didn't want to see us.
That hurts, man. Yeah, I know.
Lost the game because they did not want to see us.
I've never seen that before, man. But hey, when the final is on the line, that's what teams tend to do.
Yeah.
But I mean,
and you know what? If the table was turned, I'm sure we would have done the same thing. But we was guided because the simple fact was we just got hotter and hotter towards the end of the season.
3 teams on 6-4. 3 teams on 6-4, and unfortunately we were third, not the first or the second, because a team threw a game, man, and they threw a game.
Yeah, without a doubt they did.
But,
because they
don't get me heated on
they
him,
didn't
man.
want no parts of us.
Don't get me heated because we were on fire by the time we finished week 6.
We lost them games and then went back to back.
Back to backs. But like I said, man, let's press pause on that. Let's just do a 180 on me now, man, because we heard.
Yeah, I've got some. You knocked off the dome, straight off your head. But I've got some here that I put down the other day.
Okay.
Getting ready for this. So my first question to you is, like you asked myself, what made you get into the game?
What made me get into the game? Okay, so I'd say at the age of 14, age of 14, 15. So my backstory is completely different to yours. You know what I mean? You know, I was in school, in high school. I was in the school where I weren't doing really well academically. From a sporting perspective, you know, I played for the football team, the cricket team. You know, in my first high school, because I went to two high schools, I played in the basketball team. I played in all the sports. I was an athlete. I ran track. So from a young age, I was always a contender of being an athlete within those sports. Right. So then I went to another high school, and then you know, in my first high school, my academics were pretty good. But when I went to the second school, it just went downhill. I started going around the wrong crowds, and you know, that's something that took that toll on me, and American football really put my carriage back on the tracks.
Right.
It really did. But the way I got there was because I used to play rugby, man. I used to play rugby. Hell yeah, I used to play rugby up to the age of 15. And I always tell this story to some of my friends about this, right? That we were playing. So it was Neeson High, or I was playing for a club team, and we went. It was in the changing rooms. So in the changing rooms, it was under 15s, and we saw a senior team walk past, and then they were getting changed. So we were getting changed now. We were getting ready. Now I said, I want to go to the toilet and I need to go and drain the weasel. And so I go to the bathroom now. And as I go past this changing room, which I thought were seniors, they weren't seniors, bro. That was the team that we were going to play. Ooh. And when I looked in there, I saw brothers like clicking out their teeth, their nose was just bent. And I said, nah, bro, I'm too pretty for this. I don't want to lose teeth. I don't want my nose to get broke. And these guys are like twice the size of us. I can't even remember how the game went, but that was the last time I played rugby. But you know what I'm saying? I have always been I've always been physical. I like physical sports. So it's a two-pronged approach that got me into American football. One of my boys, Simon Paris, yeah, close friend from the age of 12, right? Good friend of mine. He goes, Hutch, I play American football. Why don't you come down and watch me play? And I'm like, what do you play American football, man? You're like a buck. You're like a buck.
Tiny as well.
Yeah, you're like not even a buck, like 99 pound. You know what I mean? 5'4", you know, and he was like 16 at the time now. He's like 16, 17. He goes, Hutch, come down and watch me play football. He goes, I'm tearing it up. I'm like, okay, let me just go down there. So go down there, and lo and behold, bro,
he's tearing it out.
He was tearing it up. Tearing it up. Now this was junior American football.
Okay.
It was flag football.
Oh, okay.
Right? Flag football.
And this,
yeah, and this is like back in 87, 86, 87. So I thought, yeah, I like, sure, man. Look, I was like 5'9" at the time. I said, oh, I'm 5'9", 5'10", and you know, I'm bigger than him, and he can do it. I can do it. So anyway, I went home, and then it just so happens that weekend, I was having my dinner. It was Sunday evening. I was watching Channel 4, and then I saw the Channel 4 logo come up, and it was like an American football helmet with like steam coming out of it. Next thing you see, it cuts into this brother with horns on his head, right? He had a helmet on, running this ball like it was just a glass of champagne, and he didn't drop a drip anywhere.
Sweetest running style, bro.
I was like, oh my God. I was just twisted. I was gassed. I was like, oh my, this guy is the nut. I said, I want to be like that guy when I grow up. That's where it started.
Listen, his running style was unreal.
For real.
Yeah,
he's my idol without a shadow of a doubt.
Sweetest running style.
So anyway, after that, you know, I started playing, you know, just moving on, I started to play junior football with a team called London Acorn Lasers. You know, in our 1988 season, we went the whole way to the finals with one coach who coached all of the positions, a guy named Floyd Mowat, who I give his props because he managed the whole team. You're talking about a team that's like aging between, say, 16 to 18, yeah? Can you imagine how much testosterone and
know,
attitude
I was just about to
and
say
all that
attitude,
shit
just-
going around,
just-
all that?
just to kind of keep them
And
on level.
we were playing in Stonebridge Estate. That Stonebridge Park, that was our home ground. So you know where I'm coming from, right?
Yeah.
That's deep down in the hood. Deep in the hood.
That is the hood, bro.
Right?
To this day, it's still the hood.
Still is. He took us to the final. He took us to the Brit Bowl final, and we lost 9-6. And I remember that game. It kicked off, man. We were bungling. We because we didn't know how to lose, man. We didn't know how to accept that shit. So anyway, so after that, we went into that to the senior team. I played like 3 or 4 seasons of D3 American football until the coach told me, he goes, Hutch, you need to leave. Now, it kind of hurt me at the time because I didn't quite, I understood, but I didn't quite understand. Yeah, he saw a talent that was playing at the wrong level.
Yeah. That's good of him, though.
Who are you telling?
He could have kept you at that
How
level.
many coaches hold on to players to win games for themselves?
He could have done that
He
quite
could have easily done that.
Yeah. And you would have gone nowhere, just
Right?
stayed in that league for years, and they just banged up, and then all of a sudden you would have...
Because I was playing running back. And you know back then, right, running backs were touching the ball 20 to 25, no, 25 to 30 times. You know,
Especially if you're good.
American football back then was, and like I said, back then, people were banging. People were banging. It was explosive. It was hard. It was quick. So after that, I went to a team called the London Rockets, and man, that was a blast because I was playing with guys that were my age. Were like, this is senior American football now, aging between, the average age of the team must have been 22.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
That's everyone. Do you know what I mean? Whereas when I was playing at other teams before, I was playing with guys that were 30, 35, you know, just weren't putting in the work that I was putting in. Do you know what I mean? But I didn't say no. I just went to work and got what I had to do done. So after the London Rockets season, I then was invited down to the London Olympians for a workout, a trial. So I went to do that, and it was a different level of football, bro. It was a different level of football. I remember doing a team and just looking at the lineups. And when I saw the lineups, I mean, I didn't understand it at the time, but I was seeing a true 43. I was seeing this true cover 1, then I'd see like a true cover 4. I'd see combos. I would see a cover 2. And, you know, at the time I didn't understand that. But looking back, I remember seeing it.
Yeah.
And looking at linebackers that were like 220, 230. Looking at defensive linemen, which were 260 plus. I was looking at corners that could roll the hell out. I was looking at safeties that could bang and bring the wood. That playing on that defense raised my game. Without that, and I'll say this right now, without that defense, I don't think my game would have raised to the next level to go to pro, without a shadow of a doubt. Because when it came to game time against some of the opposition, I found it easy.
Yeah, because they
were ballers.
Yeah, they didn't bang us up.
That was probably the number one. That was the number one defense, right, in the country. Bar one other. Them Birmingham Bulls, bro. That defense.
Yeah,
Lord have mercy.
You know, I wouldn't even say it
that
was
defense.
They were so. It's just they
knew they knew how to bring it.
Yeah,
and I give the Birmingham Bulls in that era their props.
That is definitely what it is. They brought the funk.
They did. They knew how to play, and they knew how to play that secondary, man. They knew how to wind you up. They knew.
And as
do you see what I'm saying? They're getting to your mind.
It's because they laid the wood so hard.
Yep.
It makes you start thinking.
But they mentally got into your mind too. So after that, you know, we had the success that we did in Europe. You know, the Euro Bowl. You know, I was fortunate enough to have a great game, 2 touchdowns, rushed for 160. Euro Bowl MVP and all those pieces, those accolades helped me to get to, you know, the trials at London Monarchs. And then we did the trials. Before you know it, we all got selected, flied over to the States, and you know what that bit's about. But I just want to share with you, man, what my first experience was
Well, I had another one here for you though, but like,
Okay, go for it.
I suppose you was kind of getting into it, but you know, the highs and the lows of you playing.
The highs and lows of me playing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like, I mean, you could say, you know, your highs and lows. Your highs would have been European, you know, because you balled out that game. Did you get MVP or was it?
Yeah, no, I got MVP. Yeah.
You know,
so
tell me what that was like. You know what I mean?
Okay, so I'm going to tell you about that bit in a minute, right? But I want to share with you what it was like when I first went to the Monarchs in Atlanta and had my first practice.
Yeah.
So after I got my kit and everything was new, man. Everything was new: socks, pants, shoulders, helmets. You know, they measured me up, all this. I was like, damn, boy, it's like tailor fitted stuff. You know, got my ankles taped. And I remember the trainer saying, "What do you want? What do you want? Do you want splat? Do you want half? Do you want full? What do you want?" I had no idea what he was talking about. And I said,
on your skin?
Yeah. I said, I don't know. Just give me full. He goes, all right, Hutch, I'll hook you up. Bruh, when I had those new cleats on and my ankles were taped, I'm telling you, it shaved off a tenth of my 40. I'm telling you. Because it was professional, right?
Yeah. It just made you feel, you know, it just made you feel a certain way.
For sure, on the field. So, you know, when I got out onto the field and the sidelines, I was like, for the first time, I was like, I think I'm out of my depth here, bro.
Seriously?
Yeah, I did, because I looked at the QB. The QB was 6'5", 6'5", 220, 230, Brad Johnson. Yeah. You know, we had 9 backs deep. I came in at number 9 on the depth chart. You had running backs that were there. Al Wooten, you know, Tony Brooks from Power 5 schools, you know, that were in the NFL and been assigned to NFL Europe or the World League at the time. Yeah. You had backs from Stanford University there. You know, a guy named JJ something or another. You know, we had Phil Bryant from West Virginia, played 4 years back to... You feel me? So that's what I walked into. Then I looked at the offensive line and I thought, all I imagined was just looking at just rhinos, man. Just right. Big, swole, big, swole ass linemen. Weighing in at like 280 plus, you know.
I don't think anyone was that light on the
about 280 plus. And I thought, okay, usually I'm one of the tallest in the offense. I was one of the shortest on the offense.
You'd have been for sure.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Then I looked at the defense. Then I looked at the linebacking core. Then I saw the secondary, you know, them high heaters just cackling away, dancing and blah, blah. I mean, that was your group. I was like, this was different. And it mentally had an effect on my performance. And it did. Okay? And it took some time to get used to that. It took time to get used to that. But, you know, Lionel Taylor, I mean, I got to give him his props, man. He saw the talent in me because he worked me out in London. He worked me out all right. And he saw the talent. And, you know, he helped me. He kind of put me under his wing to a point because he was OC at the time. Yeah. But he just didn't know where to play me. He knew I was an athlete. He lined me up a slot. They put me at special teams. They put me at tailback in the 2-back set. But, you know, I was learning.
So just pivoting on that one, if you had played more, you know how to run the rock, we knew that, but I think if you had to play more slot within your game, you think he would have used you more as a slot? I think he did that with Ronnie West, didn't he?
Yeah, he did that with Ronnie West because Ronnie West was another back, right?
Yeah.
He was another back.
And he could run good routes. I'm not saying that you couldn't, but I'm saying if you did understood that position as well. Without
a shot. I personally feel that he would have. Yeah. But I was still in my infancy. Yeah. And he had other players that were in my group that were way more seasoned.
Yeah,
and I understand it. At the time I didn't. I understand it. That's what he had to do. That's what, you know, those coaches had to do to put the strongest players out in the best positions to try and move the chains. Yeah. I get that. Yeah. So that was like how it felt for me in my initial year at the London Monarchs. Going back to your question now about highs and lows. Yeah. highs for me has to be the Euro Bowl. Euro Bowl, where I won MVP. I didn't see that coming at all. I just did what I normally did in the European games, in the domestic, games in the UK. I just did what I normally did. Yeah. And what was really surprising for me was at the time I didn't know Richard Dunkley wasn't going to be suiting up for that game because he got his hand hurt. Yeah. And, Richard Dunkley he was an absolute thoroughbred of a running back for London Olympians for years. For years. So when I got to London Olympians, I was back up to him. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And, I'll tip my hat off to him and give him his kudos. Him and what was the fullback's name again? I should know this. The short guy.
You know what?
Yeah.
I see his name now.
He's gonna come back to me.
Cliff Morgan.
Cliff Morgan. There you go, Cliff. Sorry, Cliff, man. Sorry, my bad, Cliff. Those two helped me, man. They helped me raise my game without a shadow of a doubt. At no point was my shoulders up here. Those guys helped me relax my shoulders and did what I did. And Richard on the sidelines during that game was in my ear the whole time. Do you know what I mean? So kudos to him. So I'm gonna have to say that was a high point.
Because you bought I remember that game, man. You balled out.
Yeah.
You was running that rock real good.
Yeah.
It was a good ass game, but you definitely was holding your own.
So I'll say that game. I mean, there are others that come close, but I'll have to say from an accolade perspective, I'm gonna say that game. Lows that I can really think of and remember. Actually, the same year. I don't know if you remember this, man. The same year. So in pre-season in 1990, that year, pre-season, our first pre-season game, Tony took us to Cologne. And we played Cologne Crocodiles in the pre-season. That's how we were balling back then.
Yeah.
It wasn't like we were playing like a local team for pre-season stuff to get ourselves ready for the season. We went to Cologne and we played a game against Cologne and we lost 14-13. And I took that personally because I think I was like in the fourth quarter, I was playing like mop-up duty and I got like a series in the fourth quarter and I got a draw, and I ran a draw, bucked it for about 4 or 5. And I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
This is my first European game against European caliber, as in semi-pro.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So I'm thinking, cool. And then, there was another play. We started moving the chains, on this drive. And I either went out for a route or it was another draw. And I got the ball and I saw green green grass, bro. I saw green grass. And I was just about to start high stepping. Bam. Someone just blindsided me from nowhere. Fumble. Game over. That was my lowest point. And the reason why I say that is because London Olympians were just defending their title. Preparing to defend their title. Okay. They won it the year before, right?
Yeah.
And they hadn't lost in about 2 or 3 years. And in that pre-season, we lost, and I took it personally because I thought it was me. Because I fumbled at that point in the game.
Yeah, so at the same time we're a team, bro. You gotta understand that. But I hear you.
But that's my opinion. Yeah. And I dropped my head on that. And it was such a big lesson for me. Such a big lesson. And I built from that and I moved on. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's like I said, I feel like that was more of a that's a team thing, bro. I could feel you, but you shouldn't have done. So, another one. If you could turn back the clocks, is there anything that you would change?
Hell yeah.
Within the game?
Hell yeah. Played? So I had an opportunity, man. There was an opportunity after that game as against the Bergamo Lions, man. They must hate me. Because the Bergamo Lions was the team that we played in Euro Bowl that we won 26-23. And when they must have seen Richard Dunkley on the sidelines, they must have been rubbing their hands. They knew nothing about me. Nothing. So anyway, when we won the game, it was announced in the press conference after that, I'd won a trip to Florida State University. Yeah. For a workout, potentially, if I was good enough for a half scholarship or something like that.
Yeah.
I knew nothing about college football, bro. Nothing.
I didn't know that about that, so you just said that.
Nothing. Right? And I was like, no, I'm not interested in that, man. I'm good. Because I was at uni at the time. I was coming up onto my third year. I just wanted to graduate here in this country. I was thinking, move to the States and go to a Power 5 school. I mean, nah, I knew nothing about it. I remember Scott Rowe, right? I remember Scott Rowe saying, Hutch, if you ain't going, yeah, I'll go. I'll go for the opportunity. I'll go for that trip. And I was like, no. I mean, I got caught up in the moment. I didn't understand.
Florida State, bro.
Seminoles, bro. It was something like a 2 to 4 week like visit, and within that, they would have worked me out and blah blah, I know.
Came out of there. Didn't
Bruh,
Prime go to Florida State, bro?
I know.
How?
I had no idea, and that was that at the time. But at the time, I thought I made the right decision.
Right.
Because I knew at that time the World League / NFL Europe was coming back. So I thought, what I'll do is I'll graduate here, because at the time education was really important to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'll graduate here. I will go to those trials. And if I graduate and get into the team, guess what?
Yeah.
I'm in a good place.
Win.
Yeah. So
Florida State is a good school too.
Look, bro. I know, man. I feel an inch high on this sofa. That's how I feel. So if there's something that I could have gone back and approached that opportunity, it would have been that.
Because
okay.
How old was you then?
I was 23.
So you'd been old, not old, but you'd been mature going into it, because most of them been 18.
Yeah.
Coming in at 18 freshmen.
Bro, I would have gone in.
You'd gone in with 18-year-olds.
Yeah.
If you got whatever you got, but
I would have gone as a walk-on or something like that.
No, but if it was for a tryout, you did well, you would have got a scholarship.
Mm.
And Power 5 school opens
up
a different door.
What
opens up that door? It opens. Put it this way: it opens the big door, but you decide to open. See how the door on the studio is?
Yeah, bro. If I had a time machine, I'd say, "Come, let's go." I'd say, "Come, let's go."
That opportunity, Florida State, especially back then, they would have scouts at their game, at their practice all the time. Because back then, Florida State was...
Yeah.
Wow.
So
crazy.
So that was definitely the biggest. A second regret of mine was in 2000. No, in my third year at the London Monarchs, when I was supposed to be at the London Monarchs, I had my best workout, and this is talking about for trials to get back into the team, because every year you had to work out and do trials. No one was safe.
Yeah, no, true. I remember that.
And I tore up the 40.
I think that was all of our best year.
That year was off the
crazy,
chain. I hit I was weighing in like 220 around the 4.5. I squeezed that about 25 to 27 on 225. You remember? And even Vic got higher numbers than that. Yeah. But that's Victor for you, right?
Everything was up that year.
Everything was up. Everything was up,
40s.
and I didn't get selected. Okay, yeah. I didn't get selected, and that absolutely broke me. That was the first time in my career that I hadn't made a team that I've applied for to get on. It broke me. For 3 days,
until you
bro.
told me about that story, I had no idea. I thought you chose not to go that year.
No, chose not to ball out.
Because I knew how work was important to you. You know what I mean? And that's what I thought it was.
And at the time, it seemed like there was no other opportunities for me to go to Scotland, to Barcelona, to Ryan, to Frankfurt. It just seemed so closed. right?
When did that come into effect then?
That
You
came-
go to,
that-
do you go to other teams?
I don't know.
Because-
I don't know. I think that change must have happened like 99 or 2000 or something like that. But someone like TA would be able to answer something like that. But I didn't have that flexibility. For some reason, I didn't have that flexibility to do that. And it broke me, bruh. For like 3 days, man, I did not come out of my room. I did not want to talk to no one. I hardly ate anything.
I think I'd have been the same because that year...
It broke me.
Remember they were doing... there was a... Remember TA told us that they had a what's the word I'm looking for? Something that, you could tell on numbers. There was a grading system.
Yeah.
And,
So yeah,
and there was
A, B, C's, and D's.
Yeah, and we were
all all A's.
Yeah, because
A's,
of the scores that we put out, like in the
those
40s.
were NFL gradings. Those
Yeah.
gradings that he was working off. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just kind of long story short here. Yeah. I couldn't hook back on to the pros until 4 years later. 4 years later, which was 2001. And
Did you try every year after, or you didn't?
I did. And I just couldn't hook on. Right? And when I did hook on was when there was a change of the guard at Scotland. Right? And at that time, I must have been about, 230, around like a 4.6. And we went through some drills and again, I was trucking people, I was catching the rock, I was doing all this stuff. And I hooked on in 2001.
Let me ask you a question then. So, change of guards at Scotland, do you think that had something to do with who was there? Or you think he would answer that question when it comes to answering?
I don't know. I really don't know, because you really have to look at it from a coaching perspective and understand what those coaches needed at that time.
Right.
I didn't hook on back at the Monarchs because they didn't need two backs anymore, right? And that's where my fail. I guess that's where my failing was, because I was a running back, right? But when I got to Scotland, different story. I had a monkey on my back at that point. Believe you me, I had a chip on my shoulder. And I had to wanted to prove to myself, first and foremost, that I should be playing at this level. Right? And that season at Scotland, it answered that question for myself and maybe my fans, etc. In my head, which I thought I was asking that question too. I should have always been playing at that level, man. That's how I feel. But it's just, I feel that the system, and this is my opinion, it didn't work for me, and I couldn't hook back on. And I had the best years of my playing career at the professional level was most definitely at Scotland, because the difference between for me and London and Scotland was the coaching. Underpins everything for me as a person, because the coaches had confidence in me, and they were patient. And by that time, I understood our offensive playbook. Yeah. So yes, I did. What did I get from London? Understanding the mental side of the game, the plays, blah, blah, blah. By the time I got to Scotland, I was a Tasmanian devil in my head, wanting to prove that I should have always been here. Yeah. And I had coaches that believed in me.
Okay, so we'll talk about, I had some, but you had one, and how long did it take you to recover from it? Injuries?
Okay, so my worst injury, so I played across 2 decades, say collectively about 14 seasons. My worst injury was I got my knee blown out. And that wasn't a pro football, it was a semi-pro football. It was when I was playing at Hamburg Blue Devils. And it was just a freak accident where a guy tackled me, an open field tackle. Yeah. Blew up my meniscus. Blew up my MCL, partially tore my meniscus. And at that time, I was I just signed a contract with Hamburg, And they also got me a part-time job in IT too, because I graduated with electronics and business. I got into IT, and so it was a no-brainer at the time to go and do that. And it was something that we touched on earlier about having a partner that was there, that was supportive of you doing that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And at the time, the mother of my children, she was very supportive of me actually doing that.
Right.
So that was one of the factors that made me make that decision to do that. I walked away from my job in this country to go and do that. Anyway, so brilliant postseason, just great postseason. First game of the season, after the first half, so I was starting. After the first half, I bucked for like 85 to 90 yards, on about 10 or 11 carries, got into the third quarter, blown out the knee. Blown out the knee. And then I was, worried about, damn, then it's going to end my contract, send me home. And I'm going home back. I'm going to be going back to my family, at the time my daughter was 2, and my partner. And I got no job, man.
Yeah.
But they looked after me. They looked after me. They got me right.
My Hamburg was a big, big
that was a big team.
Yeah.
Absolute big team. It was. I got my knee scoped within 24 hours. Within 48 hours, I was in the pool doing rehab and trying to learn how to walk again on my knee. And then I was back up and running in 2 months.
That's great, bro.
Back up and running. So that was my worst injury, man.
And on this one, was it time for you to put them boots up on the ledge? And when was that time? When was that time when you took them boots and went, boop, let me put them up there. It's time to call it quits. And was you ready? When
So in 2003, same year as you, we were both at Scotland, and you know how we was going. Toes of special teams on toe to toe. Yeah. I got frustrated. Yeah? I got frustrated because I felt that, in the 2003 year, we had some great backs. We had Maurice Hicks.
Yeah, we did.
We had Ken Simonton. We had Mike Milan, and then there was me. So it was like two kind of like fullbacks, two kind of like tailbacks or something. That group was the best set of running backs I've ever been around. Okay? And I understood way more about the game and the politics of the game than I ever did at that point. This time I was 32, right? Still rolling and balling and with these kids that are coming in like 23, 22, blah. And I could see that I felt that I was good enough to be starting, to be playing. And, just because of the nature of the situation, I got 3 allocated running backs in front of me. One from the Buffalo Bills. Mo was at Chicago. I think he was a candidate from Chicago. And then you had Mike Milan, man, who he was nice too, from the Patriots.
Yeah.
Okay. And what we were doing in practice was doing exactly the same with those guys. Exactly. I got game tape to show that stuff, man. And, I got game tape. And it was just the frustration of me being, I call it an alien to the game, but being a European player, not allocated from a team, not being given that opportunity to get time on the field, to get more game tape for my team to see how I'm operating.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And like I said, I give kudos to Gene Dolquist. I give kudos to Steve McCusker because he was my running back coach at the time. And he did what he could to get me on the field, and I appreciate that. I'm not saying I didn't get on the field because I got a lot of game. I got game time. I'm not saying I didn't, but I felt like I could have contributed more, at running back on the field, and that coupled with discussions with my partner at the time, the mother of my children. Was like, right, if I don't get a call this year, from a team or something like that, I'm gonna call it. And I didn't. So I was like, right, cool. I'm just gonna lean on my academics and just start building.
That same thing happened again? They didn't call?
No. This is at the end. This is at the ending of the season.
Right.
So after week 10,
Yeah.
I was like, well, okay, because there was a team looking at me. There was a team looking at me in 2003,
Okay.
but I didn't get a call. So I was like, I'm done. So I walked away from the game frustrated. I walked away from it frustrated. I didn't have that closure that I wanted. Yeah, but then I leaned on my academics and then started to build my IT career from there. Yeah, and then I did a bit. I kind of got. So I turned my back on American football because I didn't like it, because I felt cheated. I felt, what I'm saying? I felt cheated.
Yeah, bro. We know.
Right.
We know how that goes.
And so I turned my back on it. Even domestically, locally, I turned my back on it. It wasn't until 2007, I then got prized out of retirement, and I was a player coach at the London Blitz, and then I helped them win a British title, and then I left them in 2008, the 2008 season. So we went to 2 finals actually. 2007 we won that one. 2008 we lost that on a field goal. But anyway, so then I turned back on it again, and then after that, I had an opportunity to coach the London Olympians with my boys, and I did that bit there, and we helped get that team from get them back into the top division of British American football for them to compete, and then that was it.
So you didn't really have the send off like I did on, when I retired in 2003.
Nope.
You literally, it wasn't your choice, all bullshit aside. It was still determined on someone else to make that for you.
Yeah.
So realistically, you wasn't ready.
I didn't make the announcement that I was retiring.
No.
You see what I'm saying? I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't make the announcement that I was retiring, but
you wouldn't have done because you wasn't ready.
I just exactly. I just.
Well, I was ready to retire.
I just walked away.
Yeah, but I was ready to retire. You wasn't ready.
Could I have played another 2 seasons?
Yeah, you probably could have.
Yeah, I could have. Yeah, I could have.
You probably could have gone until it folded.
At running back too.
Yeah, until it folded. Was it?
But
when did it stop? 2004.
7.
So you could have probably gone to 205. You know what I mean? But you didn't have the opportunity to say I'm done, which is, I find, that's harsh.
What helped get me some closure though was when I went to the Blitz and we won a final. That final, and going through those championship games, that helped me get some closure.
Different man to me. Real different man to me. But
on that one, listen, we got to wrap this up.
Yeah, we got to wrap this up.
Let's go and get something to eat.
We're gonna have a part 2 to this one.
Without a shadow.
The next one, because there's still topics we still need to talk about.
Yep.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. And don't forget to hit that notification button so you can hear when we're uploading the next one. And on that one, peeps.
We out.
Peace out.
Bring it in.
Yeah. Good one, bro.